we are live.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Checkpoint, your number one show, rounding up all the hottest, not so modest gaming news stories of the week and discussing all the relevant topics you need to know about. I'm one of your hosts, James Walmer, and today I'm joined by the Nap King himself, Ryder Maldonado. My man loves his naps. He loves a little bit of sleepy time,
I do.
and we love him for it. Real quick before we get into it, I want to thank our audio listeners, and you can find us over if you're listening to us on audio platform or if you're on Twitch. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/strictlycasual. Please hit us with a rating on those audio platforms. Don't forget to follow us or subscribe on Twitch. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Guys, all of that just helps us out so much. Now, to get right into it. Ryder, what have you been playing? How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. Glad to be here. I've been playing a lot of random miscellaneous games, I'd like to call them. I've been doing 2K, the basketball game. I play a lot of that with my cousins, so I just grind it sometimes. It's weird. I don't know how I got hooked on it, but I'm doing that. And then No Man's Sky is like the new survival game I'm on right now. So just kind of.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's
a lot of cool systems.
Yeah, it's so convoluted. I didn't realize it, and so I'm getting sucked in. And then I'm still working my way on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That's like slowly inching my way. It's a big game. A lot of people that play it know, but
it's huge. I don't think I'm ever gonna touch it.
it's daunting to say the least. But
is it enjoyable for you? Like, is the gameplay
Mm-hmm.
loop, is the process enjoyable?
Yeah, I think they've mastered the repetitiousness of it to where I'm hooked. I'm good with it. The fighting. But that's it for me. Really. What about you? What have you been doing?
I play a lot of the game where you go into the PlayStation store and you scroll around on the deals for a little while,
Oh my god.
and then you just kind of like it's like a 20-minute process. Like, I'll be in there for a while. I'll go deep into to the point where like you're looking at like avatars and like DLC for like obscure games that you don't even like, you've never heard of, but you're just like, there's got to be something in here, man. I know it. I know there's a gem deep down in here. And I just close out of the store and then go watch like an episode of anime or something.
Like like when a new DLC drops and you have to buy the season pass for it. I'm gonna reinstall the game even though I don't have that DLC. I just got hyped because of the trailer that they dropped.
And like, even when that happens, you just open the game for like 2 minutes and then you're like, oh, that's cool, and then you just don't touch it ever again.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
The game I was playing, actually, I think most recently, I was playing a lot of Resident Evil 7.
Oh, okay.
And that game is so good. It's a lot scarier than I thought it would be. I talked about this last week on the show, but like, the puzzles are really good. I think the scariest part for me is the unpredictability of where the father is in the house. I forgot his name.
Yeah.
But
Jack, right? Baker?
Jack Baker, yeah. And so I hate going into a room that I know I killed him in, and his body is not there. Like, it happened to me where I was going through a hall, and I was opening a door into the main hall of the house, and it just turned out I thought he was above me. Like, you know how in the main hall there's the catwalk? I thought he was on top of the catwalk, but in reality he was on the other side of the door. And I just opened the door into him, and I immediately like got my neck broken. He just goes, it turns me around and throws me down, and I was like,
that's the best part about those games.
It's good though. I'm pleasantly surprised by that game and how well it does horror.
That's good. Yeah, I know the new one came out, and so it's good that you're finishing that one. You can work your way to the
I'll get around to 8 eventually. I really want to.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's interesting. Let's go ahead and get into our first news headline. We got some big news from Nintendo. Nintendo Switch just announced a new OLED model, which is surprisingly not the model that a lot of people were hoping for, but there's still some cool features with this. Let's break down everything with this new model. It's a 7-inch OLED display with up to 6.2, what is it, 6.2 inches? I think you added that.
It was from 6.2 inches.
Oh, okay.
So the
increase
the base Switch is to 6.2, and the new one is 7.
Okay, we have a a wired LAN on the dock, which now you can plug it into the internet when it's in docking mode. Improved wide kickstand, which is adjustable. Now you can kind of adjust it, and you don't have to worry about the flimsy plastic breaking.
Dude,
Anything.
it's so flimsy.
Yeah, it's a little thing. It's like
this was super needed.
Absolutely. And when it has enhanced audio, I like how they add that because I feel like there's only so much you can do on a little system like that.
Yeah, little tiny speakers. Yeah,
we have,
but they're bad though. They're bad. Have you ever listened to like the? They're just not good.
I mainly just plug in headphones, because I can't do it with the speakers,
Yeah.
But we have an increase in the internal storage, 64 gigabytes. The price is a $50 increase than the previous original Switch. It's at $349.99, $350, and it releases this October 8th. More details here. The new system will come in two color variations, one with the Joy-Cons being white and a white dock, and the other with the traditional red and blue Joy-Cons and a black dock. So
I like the white. The white looks really good.
I like the variation. It looks cool. It looks
It
clean.
almost, so when I saw it at first, I thought it was just a skin and someone did like a Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah.
They were going for that sort of vibe, but I like the white.
I just imagine fingerprints. You know what I mean? Like all the kitties.
Really, I feel like black gets more fingerprints.
True.
Yeah.
It depends on, I forget what material they use for it, so it might be
sure.
greasy flat if it's matte or whatever.
Sure.
And here we go. We have the last little point here to address the elephant in the room.
Can I read that?
Take this for sure.
Sorry.
To
address the elephant in the room, Polygon's Michael McWhorter comments, Nintendo of America president Doug Bowser told Polygon in December that the Switch is, quote, at the midpoint of its life cycle, end quote, implying that we have about 4 more years of Nintendo Switch revisions still to come. After all, Nintendo released 6 models of its popular Nintendo 3DS over the course of a decade, boosting screen sizes, adding buttons, and bolstering processing power. Plus, on a long enough timeline, some Nintendo rumors eventually do come true, end quote. So, Ryder, the question that everyone's asking is there still hope for a Nintendo Switch Pro? What do you think?
I saw something talking about this could be like the substitute because of what's going on with maybe not chips, but the technology and the materials being having a lack or having a what's it called? Not the word, a delay due to the virus. And, even now we're still adjusting. So I think this is kind of to hold people off, and, it's a new Christmas thing. But like you said, there's still plenty of years. I think we could still get a new model. I think that there's still hope, because it's what people want. And I feel like there's been leaks or something of like hints they're planning something like this. I feel like I've heard it on the show here. And
yeah, well, earlier we talked about new screens, new OLED screens, and I think new parts from Nvidia, but that could have been the screen.
True.
That could have totally just been the screen. I don't know.
Okay. I will hold out hope because I think a company will always have tons of models, but that's up to me. What about you?
I think we have time. I think we can still get a Switch Pro.
Okay, yeah.
I absolutely think we can still get a Switch Pro.
100%.
When will it be? Maybe another year?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years? I think a year sounds too soon, so maybe 2 years.
True.
So, I mean, it's tough.
Yeah. Considering Nintendo and their history of consoles, with their 3DS, I don't remember how many. There was the 3D version, there was the Max, right, the XL.
Yep.
So, I don't know, you could probably trace back their history and put it together with this and say like, oh,
it
makes sense more.
Yeah. Do you think this is a miss for Nintendo? Do you think this was the right decision? I mean, this probably goes back farther than, just this week or whatever. Yeah. But I mean, this has been in the works for a while. But
yeah, true.
Do you think they missed the opportunity to really go big with a 4K, even 30 FPS model?
I think this is the good substitute. I feel like this is the Series S or the disc version of a console. You know what I mean? It's not the big one. It's not the big boy coming with like the Series X or a PS5 Ultimate Edition. This is just the smaller substitute that you get. And in 2 years, they're going to have a full fleshed out line of consoles. This feels like a lot of things that people wanted, were fixed. I feel like the wired LAN, I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying, thank you for that. And thank you for the kickstand. Little things like that, quality of life improvements, right? So I don't know. Every time I hear OLED, I feel like people get excited about it because how, new and cool that technology is. But people want the 4K. So it depends on what you like and what you prefer for this,
I think I would have liked it if they had announced both the 4K model for the people who are really into that like hardcore gamer crowd of like, all right, if you want the 4K, if you want the 30 frames per second, you can pay $400. $400 for it. But if you don't need 4K, here's an updated model of the previous system that doesn't have all the same bells and whistles, but it's got the improved kickstand, it's got the enhanced audio, it's got more storage, and it's $50 more, which I mean it's a step up, but it's nothing huge. I think that would be the ideal move.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm no marketing person. I'm no marketing expert, but that would be my dream reveal for the console as well as the 4K model.
That's a great point. I agree. You're right. I think just timing, and I guess, we'll give it time and we'll see what happens with their plans, what they announce the next year, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's up to you. You can move on to the next one. Is this breaking news for today? This was breaking news today.
This is new as of this morning.
Okay.
Ubisoft plans Assassin's Creed live online game service. This comes from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg. According to them, this will open the door to have different but interconnecting games. This is from Ubisoft speaking. Yeah. So according to Ubisoft, this will open the door to have different but interconnecting games with different settings over the life of the service. So this is a quote from the Bloomberg article. Quote, Infinity will contain multiple settings with room to expand to others in the months and years following its debut, end quote. So as this is a long-term live service game. This is not like you have a Call of Duty Battle Pass for it's like think of like Call of Duty Modern Warfare multiplayer where it's like that was a live service but it kind of only went for the extent of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Whereas Warzone is an entity that still has a battle pass and extends beyond the life of Modern Warfare
games.
And it's going yes, exactly. This is actually very interesting because I'm wondering if Call of Duty has that sort of thing in which it is an annual game but with a subset of it that remains consistent, if Assassin's Creed is going to have a similar approach in having these big annual games but also having some sort of experience that is a live service that kind of weaves throughout the entirety of all their games. It maybe brings a little more like continuity of story to it. I know they've been doing a lot of like individual stories that aren't very connected. Maybe their aim is to add more continuity to the franchise. Details surrounding the project are still in flux as it's still years away from release. And then #MeToo allegations have also greatly affected the dev teams and development of the game. Ubisoft spokeswoman that Jason reached out to acknowledged the existence, with her only comment being that Ubisoft aims to, quote, exceed the expectations of fans who have been asking for a more cohesive approach to the series, end quote. So, like, going back to what I was talking about, it's seeking to really, like, kind of draw a common thread between all of the games and a more cohesive story. Again, Ubisoft spokeswoman didn't really like confirm a lot other than just acknowledging the existence of this game and kind of like what their approach to it is.
Okay.
There's also a little bit of internal friction regarding the development as Ubisoft Quebec will take charge of the development, potentially irritating the long rivalry between both the Quebec and Ubisoft Montreal teams that were just unified in April. So in April, they took Ubisoft Montreal and Ubisoft Quebec and merged them into one studio. I guess in an effort to
really
kind of mend this rivalry that has has been a thing in the past. But with Ubisoft Quebec being the head of this team, I can definitely see that resulting in a lot of conflict, a lot of competition between the two, which might not be healthy since it's within an internal developers.
Sure, yeah.
The spokeswoman said that the organizational change is designed to help the franchise, quote, evolve in a more integrated and collaborative manner that's less centered on studios and more focused on talent and leadership, no matter where they are within Ubisoft, end quote. Which, like, it feels counterintuitive to me.
Okay.
It feels like
Mhm.
they're trying to, they're like, yeah, we're gonna like unify these studios, and they're gonna like collaborate with each other, and we don't want it to be like actually about the studios, but more on the actual like people in them rather than like the
Okay.
reputation of the collective studio. But I just don't see it playing out that way.
All
It
right.
sounds like I made the comment after this. It just seems like a very like HR put this statement out
Okay.
to
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of
I
just
hear you.
appease,
So you feel like
people.
the rivalry is what pushes the more success of the games? Does that come out from Ubisoft or?
I mean, I don't know if that's just effective from an
Yeah.
internal standpoint. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like you're working on the same game. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I don't think competition is super
Mhm.
necessary for like a successful product. But I can definitely see like that perspective. And I
Okay.
think you make a good argument for it. So I think there's both sides.
Yeah. Mhm.
To make matters worse, there's still managers accused of abusive behavior that remain in senior positions after the reorganization, with at least 3 managers at the Montreal studio being accused of, quote, harassment or toxic behavior, end quote, while other employees claim racism and sexism to HR, quote, without anything being done, end
Oh
quote.
wow. Okay.
Ubisoft is kind of like an HR mess
Yeah. Seems
and
like
has
it.
been for like the past
Yeah.
year. Um, I like You'd think that after such huge allegations within the past year, I think
Something would
with it
happen.
like the president of Assassin's Creed Valhalla having to step down,
Mm-hmm.
or as like the lead creative director or someone like
Yeah, I
that
remember you talking about
having to
that.
step down because of Me Too allegations and sexual harassment, you'd think they would learn the lesson and finally crack down. But if it just becomes a sort of thing where they're really not doing anything about it, I think it's going to really hurt them in the long run. And
Mm-hmm.
if this continues to be something that is generally like, if this goes out to the public and isn't contained by their or their PR and HR department, then I just don't know how many people are going to be willing to buy their product when they know this is going on.
Yeah, I think it's a real challenging move. I think it could be stressful because doing the like new trilogy that they did with Origins, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and Valhalla, to do that open world was great, and I think it worked well for the franchise of Assassin's Creed. And hearing about this, this new kind of style of having I think they're just thinking more of the money standpoint, of course, like any company, but I imagine like an Abstergo type Animus kind of center hub, but I don't since each game is kind of a different time period. I can't see myself playing one time period, let's say in the Viking era, but then having a hub where it's all the same to another game that's different, unless each game, like they do with Warzone, they update it and they update the era. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how they play that off and how the multiplayer is, because I don't know, I imagine you're with other players, but
They
it could
never
just
even
be a
said it was
source.
multiplayer.
Oh, true. Yeah, you're right.
They
You're
said it
right.
was like,
It's
I
different.
guess
Yeah,
like live service has definitely been
like
been
stores and stuff.
synonymous with multiplayer.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And recently, because every live service game has been a multiplayer game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they could do it would be odd and it'd be different, but
Yeah, yeah,
maybe they'll
true. You're
pull
right.
something out and do a live service single player game. I don't know.
True, true. With like
There's
all the
just
hubs.
we have a lot to do. I mean we have a lot to do. We have a long time to wait
Yeah, yeah.
until we see more about whatever this project is.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it will be that you're a sort of a Desmond type character.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you're in the modern world and you're doing like jumping into different animuses and
Mm-hmm.
doing different things as different ancestors that are kind of they're less maybe immersed in that localized timeline,
Mm-hmm.
but more like, okay, you're going in with a specific like you don't play like through the whole life of Ezio Auditore, for example.
Yeah.
You just play like you jump in to Ezio at a certain point to do
Okay.
a
Okay.
certain thing for your mission, and then you jump out
Yeah, and you
at
go
a certain
anywhere.
point,
True,
and
true.
then you can jump back in at Edward in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and
Yeah.
then you
Mm-hmm.
do something and you jump out, and you kind of
Yeah.
go along the
Different
timeline in
different
like
times. Yeah.
shorter blocks. I
That'd be
don't know.
cool.
That's just a guess.
That sounds fun. I'd play
Time
that.
heist.
Yeah, time heists. Absolutely. All right.
Time heists.
Yeah, I feel like more Assassin's Creed games that come out, they just keep going through every time period. I'm like, where are they gonna go now? I feel like they've done They've done all the time periods,
Like,
you know. I'm
dude, I
like,
think it'd be cool if they did like a Aztec one, like a South American.
oh
That'd
yes,
be
that's
super
right. And
cool.
then someone brings a great idea like that. I'm like, oh well, forgot about that time period. But that's
Mm.
cool. Okay, well, that's interesting, and we'll definitely. I'm sure you guys will have more info once more
Yes,
info
look
comes
for
out.
more to come.
Okay,
Yep.
here we go. We got Sony State of Play. It's coming out tomorrow as of recording this, so it should be out already.
Woo!
So here's some kind of info on what to expect and what the info we have so far. So Sony Interactive Entertainment Senior Director of Content Communications Sid Schumann said that the much anticipated July 8th State of Play event will mostly focus on Deathloop and other third-party games. So, people were talking about God of War and some other big AAA games. Probably don't anticipate those because I think those are way farther ahead. Probably in the December Sony event that you guys keep hyping up. The big one, the big event. However, it did tease that there will be more updates soon and that fans should, quote, stay tuned throughout the summer. So, of course, they'll probably be doing more tinier shows like they do. As for these potential indies and third-party titles, the sky is the limit. However, if we look at some past State of Plays, there is a chance we could see more of games like Final Fantasy, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Sifu, Ghostwire Tokyo, Pragmata, Forspoken, Stray, Jet, The Far Shore, and many more. So many awesome titles here. Who knows what could happen? Because they gotta, like you guys always talk about. I don't know how many, but 20s. There's dozens of titles, original IP that they're doing that we haven't even seen yet, right? And so they could make announcements or give updates. And I think these state of plays are always exciting, but I personally feel a little underwhelming because of the repetitious nature of them. It seems like there's a little too many of them, but I understand
The
the
indies?
constant updates. No, of the shows, the state of play shows.
Oh, just the State of Plays as a whole.
Yeah,
Got it.
I think they overhype the show mentality and the atmosphere of what these are when it's I don't know, maybe that's just me.
Really, I feel like
I don't
that's
know.
just. I feel like that would just be the gaming community
As a whole,
and
just
as a
overhyping it.
whole,
Okay, you're right.
just
you're
overhyping events. Like they're setting it the expectation pretty clear of like we're getting a Deathloop. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze pretty soon.
right. God bless you.
Um, of a game, Deathloop gameplay deep dive, and then updates on indies and third parties. I might sneeze again.
Okay. hold for sneeze. People.
Sorry, audio listeners. Anyway, um, yeah, I guess people just want a little more out of Sony. I think Sony is doing a lot of long-term. I think right now they're in a place where they're doing a lot of long-term development and
Yeah.
early development on future titles, where they're just like,
True.
it's all building up to that one E3 of dreams. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
like they'll kind of sit for a little while. I'll just be like, oh no, nothing yet. We got nothing yet. And then maybe like in
blow the
about a
gas.
year or maybe 2 years,
Blow their
just
load.
boom, we have all these games like they're ready and they're gonna come out like in a year or like in half a year. But I mean,
Who knows? Right?
I think
it's time.
yeah, and like I was talking with Vincent, I think it was last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, is third parties and indies have started to become more and more commonplace on PlayStation.
Okay. Yeah.
I think PlayStation is really good at driving really strong indie titles.
Okay.
That I mean, God, I can't think of any off the top of my head to be honest. But it seems like a lot of the games that they're pushing out are these kind of like bigger, like more refined indie titles. Like the first one off the top of my head is The Little Devil Inside,
Okay.
which was the one about the explorer with his like grandpa or his dad or whatever. And everyone I talked to was like, "Oh, that game looks so cool." Even though it was an indie title, it wasn't a huge third-party game. It wasn't a AAA. It was this tiny game, probably done by a super small studio. But like I mean, like I said, I think Sony is becoming this sort of this very artistic studio that pushes and empowers a lot of small studios who work on really cool things. And I think Microsoft is getting better at this too. I don't think this is one-sided on Sony's behalf. I think Game Pass is a great place for Microsoft to put a lot of these really cool, more obscure but like beautifully obscure titles that otherwise I think would be really hard for Microsoft to push on their platform. But I think Game Pass allows them to do that very well.
Absolutely.
Or very effectively.
Well said. Yeah, I guess it's just up in the air. So we'll see. But correct me if I'm wrong. December apparently is a big Sony event that they had a couple years back, right? Like their bigger one. It's kind of like a state of play, but it's more of their
Yeah,
showcase, like
that's
their
when
E3.
they're so last week we talked about their patent for a PlayStation
Yeah.
experience,
Okay, that's what I'm talking
and
about. Thank
that's
you.
normally when they did that is in
Okay.
December. So we could be getting a big event from Sony in December.
Nice. Okay. Exciting. Exciting to say the
Yeah.
least. All right. You got this next one.
Oh,
You
okay.
want this the GTA one, right?
No, I wanted to do
Oh,
Ripple
okay.
Effect.
I could take it then. I know you want to do
Yeah, yeah,
Ripple.
you
Okay.
wrote it.
So we got GTA news, and this is exciting because we've also had some stuff here that we'll talk about. But let's get into the headline. Grand Theft Auto creator Dan Houser forms a new company, and we got this from Polygon. Dan Houser, the co-founder of Rockstar Games, who left that studio and publisher in 2020, has begun a new company, according to incorporation documents filed in the UK a week ago. The company is called Absurd Ventures in Games, and it was also chartered in Delaware under the same name in February. Hauser is listed as the company's producer and creative director, in addition to being its corporate director. So Hauser, of course, started Rockstar with his brother Sam in 1998, and the studio, of course, is known for Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, iconic games, publishing 9 best-selling games under their open-world third-person adventure formats. In February 2020, Rockstar parent Take-Two Interactive announced that Dan Houser would leave his position as vice president of creative following an extended break he took 6 months after Red Dead Redemption 2 launched. Now, Sam Houser is still Rockstar Games president. But I find this interesting when we just recently got news about a Grand Theft Auto 6 apparently not coming until 2025, 2026. But I think that if, we lost the original creator of it, what made it so iconic, kind of is like, oh, it's sad to hear, but I am looking forward to seeing what the next fresh face takes over for the most popular franchise probably of all time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'm actually really. I know that Dan Houser
Still.
was a huge mind in
Mhm.
regards to creating Grand Theft Auto 6, or sorry, Grand Theft Auto 5 and the previous titles.
Mhm.
But it's also like he was so high up at the studio that I don't know. I'm curious to see how heavily involved he was with
True.
the actual, like, I mean, probably game
Creative.
direction, but probably not
Yeah.
game development.
Mhm.
Um,
You're right.
and so I don't know how much of that work really to attribute to him. I mean, that just goes
True.
beyond my
Yeah.
pay grade of knowledge. That's where
Yeah.
my amateur journalism shows, as it's truly amateur. Um, my biggest question is, what could he be working on now?
Yeah.
Like, is he gonna go the open world route? Is he gonna go for some big ambitious title? I feel like we're in such a climate for video games where we actually want more linear story driven titles because we're in this huge influx of so many open world games. At least that's what I've been experiencing on Twitter. That's what I've been seeing is people like their linear experiences and they've been having really good times with them. But I don't know. Do you have any speculation, Ryder?
Well, there was a leader at Treyarch Games, Jason Blundell, who was really famous for the zombies community, and he's now doing his own company, and he left to do his own thing. And so I think this is a great example of really big names of the gaming industry that we know are great for creating franchises. And like you said, they may not have a creative hand in it in the writing, but at least they're conjuring their idea. And so
Sure.
I think we're starting to see this, with pushing Game Pass and Sony's, pushing indie games. Creators that are so huge with these AAA companies are now have the freedom to go on, do their own thing, make their own company, and start off anything because of their past history, their work history, and their experience in the industry. That they can make something with a great team, and it'll be a great indie game that's well rounded and probably would sell pretty well considering.
But do you
Game
know what
Pass.
he's working on? The Treyarch guy?
No, I mean we know the company, but as of now they talked about at Summer Games Fest, they're like, we're gonna be working on new stuff, but they never like said any details.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Is that the studio that's partnering with PlayStation?
Yeah. What's
Got it,
called?
got it,
Jason
got it.
Blundell. Call of Duty Week. I'll have to look it up here, but
Yeah,
I'll
it's
tell you eventually if I find it.
okay. Well, I'd like the listeners to know what it is too.
Okay. I'm looking it up.
Yeah. While you read that, I'm gonna go on to the next article because I just really don't have a lot to go off of in terms of speculation for Downhauser's company. Ryder,
Okay.
do you have anything else you want to mention? Anything to comment?
No, I think I'll keep a lookout too, and I'll try and add whenever y'all are talking about it. But yeah, the new company is
Yeah,
Deviation Games. That's what it's called.
that's what it's called. That
Deviation
makes sense.
Game. Yeah.
Yep.
So they're
That.
partnering
Yep.
with PlayStation, and they said we're not afraid to say that our ambitions are super high. We're setting out
Wow.
to make huge content-rich games. So yeah, you know what I mean. They're ready to go. They're motivated because they probably have the backing of a PlayStation to do whatever they want. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
That's cool.
We have another new studio announced called Ripplefx Studios. This comes from
Ooh.
EA.com, and Nibelian he cross posted it onto his Twitter,
Mhm.
and it is a studio out of EA, and it was created with the tagline saying the smallest idea can change the world. Ripplefx Studios is co-managed by Respawn's Vince Zampella, who is kind of just a legend in the gaming community. Did a lot of work on, I think it was originally Modern Warfare 2. I think that was his last Call of Duty game, and then he jumped to the Titanfall train and Titanfall 1 and 2.
Okay.
Um, Previously, the studio's called DICE LA and included the
Oh.
Medal of Honor franchise, Battlefield 4, all the
Oh.
Command and Conquer games,
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle Earth. Just a lot of great stuff. Some of it's his, some of it's missed, especially
Mhm.
with the Medal of Honor franchise.
Okay.
But Vince Zampella is managing Ripple Effect, actually in addition to overseeing Respawn Entertainment. So he's not stepping down from his position as uh, as director or whatever his official title is at Respawn. He's not stepping down from that. He's doing this in addition to it,
Okay.
which is kind of ridiculous if you think about it. I was like, damn,
It's a lot.
man has a lot of capacity to be doing that.
Yeah.
Um, and the only info that we have about any sort of projects is just that they're currently working on a player inspired experience for Battlefield
Mm.
2042 and starting work on a yet to be announced project. Ryder,
Interesting.
what do you think? Does this get you excited? What are you thinking? What are you feeling?
I feel like they've always trying to do new stuff. When I hear player inspired experience, I think campaign. Am I kind of going the right area? Like I feel like with their previous Battlefields, they didn't really do campaign. They did war stories, right? And they had little
Mhm.
segmented parts. So I mean, they're great because the graphics nowadays. I think the graphics are cool. So if they have great writing and a cool story, I think it'd be cool little parts for Battlefield 2042 with how ridiculous it's going to
Mhm.
be. But this new project, I think anything from really Dice or anything from this new company could be, the potential's there. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. Uh, I feel like didn't they do Anthem or what was the company that did? That's Square Enix, right? I'm thinking of or not Square Enix.
That's
God.
Square Enix.
Okay. So then I'm
I
confused.
think yeah. No, it's
I don't. But Respawn did the Titanfall and everything. So these are it's great mechanics. I'm talking
Anthem was
about.
BioWare.
BioWare. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm for it. I think this sounds exciting, enticing, but yeah, I like the name Ripple Effect. We had somebody in the chat say that's an awesome name for a studio. I agree. Ripple Effect does sound great. What else?
Dog.
What else can you flesh out for this one? What's your opinion on this?
I think you hit. I think you're onto something with the campaign, the segmented experiences. I remember when they were talking about at ETH or not E3 at Summer Games Fest when they were talking about what they were going to do in terms of campaign. They said they weren't offering.
Mhm. Yeah.
Obviously they're not offering a campaign. They're charging
Mhm.
$70 for a multiplayer experience.
Mhm.
And I remember that outroar, that that outrage that happened within the gaming community because you're paying
Yeah.
$70 for a multiplayer experience. They
Yeah.
said they were, and I think this came from Paris,
Um. Yeah.
from Vicious 796. I think those are the numbers attached to his name.
Yeah.
Um, but he was saying that through insider information, he was saying that they had other plans to include story content, and I think that mixed with this new information of a player inspired experience can definitely hint at some sort of player driven story.
Something, right?
It's really hard for me to put tangibility to the
Yeah.
words player inspired
I
experience.
know, right? Yeah.
It's a
It's so
hard
obscure,
like what does
dude.
player inspired mean? Does
Player.
that mean there's player choice?
Mhm.
Does that mean that it takes trends that are going on within the gameplay and within the multiplayer gameplay
Yeah.
and transition those into, a sort of cohesive narrative. I just don't know.
It almost sounds
But
like no narrative, but more of objectives within this. Kind of like how Warzone has those contracts or stuff like that. Player inspired, like, it's how you want to play, how you pick your operator. You get a objective, you have a point to do or something in the multiplayer world, in the map, and that's your story that you live out in the
no,
battlefield.
I'm actually saying the opposite,
Oh, you're saying
in which
okay.
the multiplayer events influence single player experiences.
Okay.
So like
for sure.
you'd be
Yeah,
like,
yeah, I get you.
I mean, I don't know how that would work out, but in terms
Yeah.
of like win percentages across certain teams, like say
Ooh.
like it would influence like key events in a
Ooh.
game. Maybe they'd have like a political reason for, I don't know.
No, yeah. The sky is the
I don't
limit.
know.
I
I'm
think
trying
no,
to
yeah,
think.
those are good points. Yeah.
I'm trying to think outside the box.
Yeah. I feel you. That's interesting.
Mhm.
Well, who knows? But at least the game's coming out this year. That's all I'm grateful for.
At least the game's coming out this year,
Yeah.
and we'll know more
Mhm.
about it this year.
Yep.
Finally, onto the best part of the show. We all know it. We spend an hour of the podcast talking about all these articles when we really know that this is the best part of the podcast. You know it, we know it.
Yeah.
It's just how it is. Random fun stuff, baby. The stories without a story. I'll get us started real quick. There's a deal on Xbox 3-month Game Pass Ultimate for $29.99. I don't know how much of a discount that is from their old price.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit. I think it's like $45 regular. I think $15 a month they do it. So anyway, God of War is coming to PlayStation now on PC as of today of shooting this July 7th. So
whoa,
yeah,
that's actually huge.
that's pretty big. I was like, oh,
Actually, I thought it was on. Oh, on PC. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. I was like, I thought it was
Mhm.
already on PlayStation now, but it was just
Yeah.
not on PC.
And you guys talked about how PlayStation is now. They just hired a PC porting company, so they're really
Yep.
pushing PC as well.
Yep. Which we love to see.
Yeah.
Game Pass games come on July 8th. We got Dragon Quest Builders 2 to the cloud. We got Tropico 6 coming to cloud, console, and PC. We got UFC 4 console. Wait, does cloud mean every platform? Or what does
I
that
think
mean?
the Xbox Cloud. This is like for example on your phone, and you can play it now. They're pushing that. I don't know if you've heard about they're trying it out. They're pushing the beta. So if you have Game Pass Ultimate, yeah, you can use it.
Oh, cool. July 15th, we got Bloodroots coming to cloud, console, and PC. Farming Simulator 19 coming to cloud, console, PC, and The Medium coming to cloud.
Nice. And lastly, PlayStation Plus games for July include Plague's Tale: Innocence, Black Ops 4, and WWE Battlegrounds. Interesting. That's some good titles right there. The Rats.
I
with
see
Plague
one
Tale.
good title.
Okay.
I see one good title.
Yeah,
The rest are just kind of.
Black Ops 3. Never mind. Black Ops 4.
Vincent is very insistent on having me download WWE Battlegrounds. But
it looks silly.
It's not gonna happen.
It looks silly.
It's not gonna happen,
Yeah.
Vincent. Sorry.
through the screen. Tell him. Hilarious. Well, that's it.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. Again, if you haven't already, give us that follow on Twitch, or if you subscribe if you feel especially generous. Make sure to leave a review on audio platforms. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Drop us a comment. Drop us a like. All of that helps us so very much. We appreciate each and every one of you. Maybe join our Discord. Maybe join our
TikTok.
Discord.
We're on TikTok if you guys want short
our
updates.
TikTok. Yeah, we got TikTok.
We got it all.
Guys, we got so much coming down the pipe for you. I just want to thank all of each and every one of you for your continued support. And for Ryder, who really clutched it up this week.
Thanks. I had a great time. A great time this week.
Yeah, cool. I'm so glad. All right, everybody. Have a great week. We love you. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.